Alright, we are back with another Lost Sector guide. We are on Extraction today. This is on Savathûn's Throne World. We're starting off with Titan. I went Solar Titan. I've been trying to kind of switch around between Light and Darkness subclasses if you don't have them. Strand would make this so much easier, but I just decided to go with the Molten Colossus build that I've been rolling with this whole season for the Light Titan for the most part. I tried it with Arc. Did not go so well. Arc's actually not as strong as it used to be, not even close. Maybe it's just because I run Strand and Solar so often, but this was able to get it done safely. I don't love this Lost Sector for farming it. I actually died quite a bit just trying to find the best, like quickest but also safest route through this and exploring what exactly was going on. But in this area here, we only have one Overload champion that will spawn in once we clear out this first round of enemies here, and the Void Shielded Scorn actually do a lot of damage. If they send over those void, you see those like void flame things, they will eat you alive, and there are a lot of them here, and so you can kind of get one shot if, well, I guess three shot if like three of them hit you at the same time. There's a lot of these guys out there. So what I was doing is trying to build up my Roaring Flames. You can see the Overload spawned in right there. And it's weird, with Solar you're actually safer by kind of getting in the middle of everything and just hammering everything to death because there's so much healing everywhere. And of course we have our healing grenade just in case anything goes wrong. But I was able to kind of bonk down that Overload very easily. And then this area we can hang back a little bit. If you like this spot back here, you'll have a nice clean shot on most of the enemies if you want to hang back. But if you want to get it done a little bit faster, I kind of start to move up just a little bit here, and I'm waiting to clear out some enemies for an unstoppable ogre to spawn in. And the ogre can obviously do quite a bit of damage if it lasers you down. It's like a less than 1 second time to kill. So he just spawned in, and usually he looks to the other side there. As you can see, he's kind of focused on the Scorn. So it's like a mini Hive and Scorn battle there. I'm going to stun him, just try and do as much damage as I can, even though I'm shooting him in the back. But you'll want to watch out for all the other Hive and Scorn that are kind of patrolling the area as well. They can really sneak up on you. There's a lot of enemies in this whole Lost Sector, which makes it challenging to farm and farm efficiently, in my opinion. So I wouldn't recommend this as like your number one Lost Sector farm choice. It's just not good. But you can still get it done. So I'm going to step on that plate there and then wait for these two little Scorn to pop out. They hop out there every time right when you stand on the plate. And you can kind of step on and off that plate to initiate different enemy spawns in. So you can kind of step on, wait for some to spawn in, clear them out, step on it again, wait for more to spawn. And if you wanted to, you could literally just step on and run all the way to the back and deal with all the enemies that way. I think that's a little bit too safe, and so you'll see here I don't really have anybody chasing me, and only a couple enemies pop out at one time, so it's not that bad. I think it ends up being about 20-25 seconds per plate that you have to stand on it, and about 2 waves per plate spawn in. One's going to spawn in right when you stand on it, the other one's about halfway through. And so we are going to go to the middle plate next. I always do this order. If you have another order you prefer, do that. I just like this. But I'm going to step on that plate again, wait for more enemies to spawn in, and just kind of clear out the area. And with the Solar Titan, the way that we have this build set up, I should mention that we probably could have popped our super one additional time because we get it back so quickly with how we get back super energy with our melee hits and kills. So I popped it here. I probably could have popped it a minute ago, and then I would have had it quicker for the boss room. But either way, we still got it done. Use your super as often as you want here, because it just helps make things go by a little bit faster. And make sure too, I just kind of noticed that I'm using a lot of regular melee hits. That's actually better because in some cases, when you have Roaring Flames times 3, you want to use regular hits on red bar enemies and not do your hammer, just in case you miss a hammer shot. You have to go run and get it. A normal melee hit can usually one-shot or close to it, as you can see from this. So we finished up the first 2 plates. We're going to hop on this 3rd plate. Once we step on it, should spawn in some enemies. There they are. And I am using, I guess I should go over my weapons here. I'm using Sunshot as kind of my main driver here. Circular Logic, obviously I use that in like every single one of these. Very easy to farm on Neomuna. And then we are using a Deliverance fusion rifle for the Unstoppables. You don't have to use Deliverance. You can use any fusion rifle you want. It doesn't matter at all. We only are using the fusion rifle to stun the unstoppable champions. And you want to make sure you clear out all these enemies here, because if you don't kill them, they will actually follow you into this room and you'll get sandwiched in between these enemies here, which you definitely don't want to happen. And we have 2 unstoppable champions right here, so definitely do not go in that room. And you can take them out however you want. I'm going to go one at a time here. Easy fusion shot, and then 1 mag. You'll see with Envious Assassin on this Circular Logic, it just makes it so easy. I have like 140 rounds in the mag. So, super strong, and these Unstoppables are the only champions in this area. I'm going to wait for him to... There we go. And now we can just focus on the boss. And what I'd say to do if you're running this Solar Titan is build up your Roaring Flames ×3. You'll see that's kind of what I'm doing. I don't know why that Roaring Flames didn't count there, but we're going to go around and get ×3 before we do anything to the boss. And so I know the boss is active right now. I could go over there, but just to get the quickest kill possible, we are going to wait. And I thought I had ×3 here. I'm like, what is going on? I don't really know what happened looking at the footage there, but the traditional melees should count as Roaring Flames stacks. But we can actually take out this boss just by tossing some hammers. 1 super should be just enough to get it done, and I even missed 1 hammer in there, so not bad. But that is Extraction for the Titan. Very slow clear. It's like 655 right now, so yeah, not a huge fan. But let's move on to Hunter. Alright, so for Hunter, we are going Strand. I did not want to try Arc. If you have a good Liar's Handshake Arc build, I'm sure that would be completely fine. I just wanted to get this done quickly. And I know a lot of you guys do have Strand. This just shows the faster clear. And if you end up buying Lightfall and you get access to Strand eventually, you can use this build. But if not, you can use my Arc build that I used in yesterday's Lost Sector, the one for the Sepulchre. Also on the Throne World. Very strong. But with this, with Strand, we are using Quicksilver Storm. You don't have to have it. As I always mention, you can use just any auto rifle, preferably a Strand auto rifle though, because you want to have that synergy. Quicksilver Storm is nice because you just get access to the tangles by that grenade, which is awesome. And then I got an Arc Fusion Rifle. You want to use Arc, obviously, because there is an Arc Burn. There's also a Strand Burn. Or sorry, I should say Surge, rather. But we're just going to use a Fusion Rifle for the most part, just for the unstoppable champions, not really anything else. This build is so strong that we can kind of use our abilities and Machine Gun, and I guess Quicksilver Storm to do most of the damage for us. But yeah, you'll see, I mean, that did a ton of damage, that melee. 1 Overload champion spawns in this room. Once we clear out about half of the enemies that are in there originally, that Overload's going to pop out of that cave, and then you can deal with it. Not too bad. As long as you have Woven Mail, it really helps out a lot. But this section right here, there's a kind of a little mini battle going on between the Hive and the Scorn. We're going to hang back, let them duke it out just a little bit, and then we're also going to activate our Whirling Maelstrom Tangles to do a ton of damage, clear out a lot of enemies. And then you'll see that Unstoppable Champion just spawned in. Once we clear out a good chunk of the enemies, not all of them, just, you know, maybe 50 to 70% of them, he'll spawn in, we stun him immediately, and just nuke him down safely with a machine gun. And then I could go right to that plate to kind of start the main mechanic of this Lost Sector, but I cleared out a few enemies. You can clear out the whole room if you want to, but once you step on this plate, you'll see those 2 Scorn enemies spawned in, and I just threw my Whirling Maelstrom over there. But I'm going to hang on this plate and wait for more to spawn in. I believe it's 2 waves of enemies per plate that will spawn in. So you can just hang out here and look on your radar. You'll eventually see more enemies spawn in and start to move their way toward you. and you got to wait on the plate for about 20 seconds or so, 20-25 seconds. And I always go this order. You don't have to go this order. Do whatever you want. But I like to just knock out the middle next. Middle can be a little bit stressful because you have enemies coming over from both sides. But my strategy here was just to wait as long as I could. Once I went red health, if I did, then I was just going to pop my super, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. If you can save your super for the final boss, I would say to do that, but it'll take out that boss a little bit faster. But we pop the super here. It should easily allow us to live. No problem. And even if we don't have our super by the time we get to the boss, that's completely fine. So I'm just kind of dealing with any enemies I can. I finished 2 plates now. Third plate is being activated, and right when I step on it again, we got more enemies that spawn in. Just a few low-tier stalker enemies. And those tangles are just always perfectly positioned, because when you're getting kills with strand weapons, they're going to spawn right on the death points of those enemies, and I can grapple on those tangles to get free woven mail without using any of my grapple energy. So there's just a lot of synergy, and if you want to see more on this build, I have a full build guide on my channel. I'll try and link it right here so you can click on that if you want. It is the most fun build in the entire game. As you can see from the gameplay, it's just great. And that should be it for the 3 plates. We're all done there. Just gathering any orbs I can. I'm kind of realizing that I'm not going to have my super by the time we get to the boss, and I'm okay with that. You know, that's okay. I have a machine gun. I have a lot of safety with woven mail, and we're going to be just fine. So not every run can be perfect, and yeah, we don't care. You'll see here the world's most difficult Lucent Moth to kill ever. Just watch this. This is unbelievable. He just avoided like half of my magazine. That was actually crazy. I don't know how that happened. Definitely not a skill issue. But anyway, we have the unstoppable ogres. There's 2 right in the room when you spawn in, and we can just kind of simultaneously get them with our fusion rifle. Makes it nice and easy. Sometimes they split up, and that's okay if those ogres do. They will come in this room, so just keep that in mind. You can't just wait by this doorway. You want to eventually work your way back if you can't kill them in time. But now we can just easily work on this boss here, and the arc damage does quite a bit, so I don't usually like to go in this room unless I have my super, which, of course, I got it right when I killed her, but we can go ahead and finish this ghost. We are all done with this. Clear out some enemies if you want, but that's pretty much it for the hunter, and we will move on to the warlock. Alright, so for Warlock, we are using the same build that we had yesterday for the Sepulchre Lost Sector, which if you're following along with that, it's just the same thing. But this is a very good build for ad clear, which there are a lot of enemies here. And this is not the best Lost Sector to farm, in my opinion. It takes a long time. There's a lot that you have to do. And you'll see I'm using the Delicate Tomb. That's kind of my main weapon that I use in here in this Lost Sector, but you don't need it. I just think it's a fun weapon. It works really well with Arc Warlock, but this was the seasonal exotic from Season of Plunder, which was about a year ago, which is just crazy to think. But we have 1 Overload champion in this room. He's going to spawn in from that back cave area after we take out about half of the enemies. Maybe a couple waves of enemies, but you'll see him kind of, I think he's popping out right now. But you do want to watch out for these void shielded guys here, and man, are they annoying. They just run around, go invisible every 2 seconds, and see, I almost died there. I got a little sidetracked. But these rifts that you can pop as an Arc Warlock are very, very powerful. You get the Arc Soul, which does a lot of work for you. Obviously, they keep you healed, and it's a good time. But that Void Chieftain there, I'm just going to stun it, throw a grenade at it, and take it out. You could use your machine gun only if you want to do that as well. But I usually in this room don't like jumping off that ledge too often until I know that I'm safe. You know, once those last few enemies are there, then I hop down. But otherwise you want to use that cover. In this next room here, we have a little battle between the Hive and the Scorn. And we're going to just interrupt them right away. Just start shooting at them. And we want to take out about half of them. And once we do that, eventually an unstoppable ogre is going to spawn in right in the middle. There he is. And usually he's focused on the other side there, like where he's looking at the Scorn away from you. But he can always just change his attention and start running your way, and Unstoppables do not stop until they find you. So keep your head on a swivel here. Make sure that you're looking out for it. I just got positioned on it, which is good. He's still in the middle, and now he's headed over to me so I can safely take him out. With how many enemies are in this area shooting at you, you don't just want to go run up to the Unstoppable and kill him, because you're going to die. So positioning wise, hanging back here is your best bet. Pop that rift if you want to, that healing rift, to give you even more protection, and you're going to be just fine. So I always like to start off, this is where we have to stand on the plates. I always start off on this plate. All you have to do is touch the plate, and then you're going to get a few Scorn that spawn in from the left, right there. And it ends up being about 20-25 seconds or so that you have to stand on the plate and let 2 waves of enemies spawn in. And I think it's about 2 waves per plate. And that first wave was easy, just a few Scorn, and then the second wave just kind of ran over here. And now we can handle the middle plate. And I know I'm pretty safe here. There's a lot going on, but if you want to, you'll see I just kind of touched the plate, ran away. I knew more enemies spawned in, and I can deal with them safely by backing up. I don't have to stand on the plate the entire time if things get too crazy. But I've got my healing rift now, so I think I'm good. And I'm kind of looking out, watching my radar for the next group of enemies that's spawning in, and they're kind of running towards me now. So I'm going to take them out, step off the plate. The nice thing is you don't lose any progress on the plate if you step off. Doesn't matter how long you step off. So you can always just run back and finish it off later. But that's 2 out of 3 done. And we're just going to knock out this third plate. And you'll see the ad clear on this build is just absolutely incredible. And it's so much fun. Everything's just electrocuting everything. Very satisfying to watch. You see all those ionic traces spawning close to me. So I get more grenade energy back, which means all of my abilities are going to replenish because of how we have our build set up. It's just really fun to use. Maybe I should make a build on this. Who knows? But that's 3 plates done right there. And we do want to clear out all of these enemies, because you could technically go to the room right now. You'll see that door's open. But what will happen is when you get to the boss room, these enemies are going to follow you all the way in the boss room. And you'll get sandwiched in between the enemies, which you don't want to happen. That actually did happen to me today. And I'm glad I tested that, because I did end up dying. I had to start over. But now we're safe from the back, so no one can run up behind us. And you want to watch out for these 2 Unstoppables just kind of taking a nap right there. Once you cross that border into the room, they are going to get really mad, and they'll start running at you. But we can easily take them out. I only have 2 shots left with my Delicate Tomb, so that's not good. I'm going to swap to my machine gun, stun it, and swap. And I know there's still one alive yet, which is why I'm not really moving into the room right now. I'm kind of trying to find where he's at. And I just spotted him there. He hid off to the right side. Same thing here. Use my last Delicate Tomb shot, stun him, and now we can work on the boss. And this is actually kind of a dumb move here. I was in red health, and I decided to super, and I easily could have died, so I would not recommend doing that. But we can always just go back in this room anytime we want. And you'll see this is, even with 2 arc resist mods on, the arc burn is pretty lethal. So this boss can do quite a bit of damage to you, so hang back. You can use this room and peek in and out and easily take out this boss and get the kill. And that is the Extraction Lost Sector. Not the best one to farm, because this was, 5 to 7 minutes per class. Pretty long, not a great farm, but either way, I hope this helped you, and I will see you in the Discord or in the next video.